Greetings all, and welcome to Dave's Craft Room. And on today's video, I have here Mount Scrapmore, and we're gonna make another scrap quilt. I can tell you, I've been working on a lot of assignments lately, quilts for other people, which I love doing. It's just that I've been itching to make a project I wanna make, like an idea that I've had. So we're doing a little palette cleanser in between assignments, although I do have a backlog of assignments, but we're gonna do a quick quilt just to use up some scraps. This is the idea. I have here a quarter log cabin block. It's easy to make. All you do is start with a square. You can really start with any shape, but I'm gonna start with a square and then sew a strip to one side, iron it flat, sew a strip to the other side, iron it flat, and then just keep going into like this braid situation. And because it's scrappy and I'm not going for perfect anything, sometimes when we get to the end, you're gonna have to add another strip to the one side because it will be lopsided. So I will also say, if you're making these and you want them to be perfect, you have to trim after each addition. I don't need them to be perfect. I don't care if they go wonky. If they want to go wonky, they can be wonky. So I'm not going to trim between each one, and we'll just let them be however they are, and then I'll just trim them with this ruler. They all need to be this size. This is my 9.5-inch ruler. I think it's like the perfect size for a block. I mean, if I would have bought a 10-inch ruler, all my blocks would be 10 inches, I guess, but I bought a 9.5-inch one years ago, and I just have it. And so a lot of my blocks turn out to be this size just for that reason. But I don't like to have loads of different rulers because I always feel like you can do it, whatever you need to do, you can do it with the one ruler. And I do have two. Oh, here it is. And this is all the rulers I need. I don't want any bigger because it's too unwieldy. I don't want a smaller one because I can't hold it or, you know, and I just don't like all the different rulers. So I just use these and that's that. And let me just say, this is Mount Scrapmore. As I make quilts, I put the scraps into here. People, after I make scrap quilts, people often put in the comments asking how big of a dent did it put in the Mount Scrapmore, and the answer is I've never put a dent in it. I've never put a significant, like, you know, there's enough fabric in here to probably make 30 or 40 quilts. So the one we're gonna make today is probably not gonna put a dent in it. Matter of fact, when I did the 365 houses quilt, you would think that out of everything would put a dent in here. No, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Mount Scrapmore was bigger when I was done because I've added to it from other quilts and I'm gonna keep adding to it. So that's just the fact of life. We're never gonna put a dent in it, but that's a good thing because we're always gonna have fabric to use to make more scrap quilts. So these are quarter log cabin blocks and I'm gonna arrange them on point. And then in between them, I'm gonna put random stuff. Like, I have so much random like t-shirts that didn't make it into quilts I made for other people and like just random things that have no purpose. Like, here's an example. Why does this exist? I bought this series of cat chunks because when I was making my 100 Days, 100 Blocks quilt, I used one of them in that. But there came with 3, so now I just have these 2 random ones for no reason. I don't really see myself using these in any other way other than in just a random scrap quilt. So that's precisely what I'm gonna do. And I'm just gonna take this, granted they'll be on point, which means they'll be lopsided. Maybe I'll sew something to here so that I can actually make them on point properly. Then again, maybe not. So it's gonna be something different. It's gonna be really like random things from the craft room. Whatever I can find to use that I don't have any other use for is going in the quarter log cabin block scrap quilt. So I kind of wanna start by pulling stuff to use for that. Like, I can already see another example. I mean, I just found this chunk of a t-shirt over there that says Oregon. Trying stuff changes the world. We believe in the great outdoors. Again, why does this exist? I don't remember where I got this or why I have it. It just exists in the craft room and it's now time to use it. You know, I never throw stuff out in terms of fabric because I know there's gonna come a time when I'm gonna wanna use it. And today is that day. So here we go. Let me pull stuff. Before we get into this week's quilt, let's take a minute to thank our sponsor, Atlas Coffee Club. People often ask me, Dave, how do you get so many quilts done? And the answer is I am caffeined. Atlas Coffee Club is a monthly coffee subscription service that sends you coffee each month from a different country. The coffee is roasted and ground to your preference. You can go to their website and you take a short little quiz, say what your preferences are. Also, you get to say like grounds or beans or whatever. And they ship this coffee right to your door. Looks like I got coffees from Papua New Guinea and Tanzania. Oh my gosh, it also came with these postcards. Ooh, these are stunning. Oh, these are the cards that tell me about the coffee. About 85% of the coffee grown in Papua New Guinea is grown in so-called coffee gardens, which are family-owned plots of around 20 coffee trees. Cool. Subscribers can pause, skip, or cancel your subscription at any time. Atlas Coffee pays above fair trade prices for all of their coffee, and they focus on sustainability. My viewers can get 50% off and free shipping on your first month of coffee with the code Dave's Craft Room, or go to atlascoffeeclub.com/Dave's Craft Room. That code and link are found in the description below. The first thing I did was cut the 9.5-inch pieces of stuff to alternate with the quarter log cabin blocks. I didn't know exactly how many pieces of stuff I could find in the craft room, so that's what I'm doing now. Some of it was fabric, some of it was t-shirts, which I interfaced, and then, like I said with the cats, I cut off the corners and sewed those corners right back into the top, bottom, and sides so that the cats could sit upright when I put them on point. Once I got the stuffed chunks on the design wall, I knew how many quarter log cabin blocks I was going to need to fill in the gaps, and I'll make exactly that amount. Next, I am cutting rectangular pieces to use as the base for my quarter log cabin blocks, and I'm kind of just grabbing scraps that I thought would look good and trimming them to the smallish rectangle. I'm not measuring them to any particular size other than smallish, and then after I have my right amount of rectangles, I cut strips to chain piece to one side of the rectangle. I didn't really measure them to make sure they're the right size. I just eyeball it and then trim off the excess. of these are gonna get cut in half to be the side setting triangles. I need one more of these to cut 4 ways to be the corners. I don't feel like piecing it right now, I'm tired, so I'll piece it another time, but that's essentially it. One more block and we're done. Stunning. Let's get it done. Alright people, this is pretty much it. It's pretty busy, it's a little bit muddy, and I think the thing to do is to add some sashing. It came to me what kind of sashing situation I want to do. I have these blue and reds. I want to do a red corner of sashing and a blue corner of sashing. So I think that's the move. As for how they kind of meet in the middle, I have not figured that out yet, but I will figure it out right now. So here I go. I am quilting it here lightly with my walking foot by stitching in the ditch of the sashing, and then I'm gonna add ties later. Apparently there's not footage of me putting the sandwich together, but it looks like 80-20 batting and then the black backing. And you can also see that I used safety pins to baste it. Alright, so I've quilted it just lightly, and then now I'm gonna put red ties in the blue section and blue ties in the red section. Okay, this is the final result. It's beautiful. And I decided to name this quilt Trying Stuff Changes the World. So that's going to be all for today's video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe to my channel. I publish new quilt projects every other Tuesday. Thank you for coming to Dave's Craft Room, and please come again.